Okay, so you guys, we are trying to guess this graph. I'm going back because I didn't have my recorder on. This is for the people at home. My graph looks like this. And if I go to my window, you can see that my x min is 0. My x max is 6.28. What is that? 2 pi, yeah. So put 2 pi in right there. And my x scale is pi divided by 2. So put pi divided by 2 for your x scale. Y min at -5, Y max at +5, and Y scale at 1. If you have that in your calculator, then we're going to see the same window. So you're going to know if you have it graphed right. Okay? Now, if we look at the graph right here, that means that this right here starts at 0, 0, and it ends at 2 pi, 0 right there. Now remember, A is determined by the amplitude. What's the amplitude here? K2, because it goes up to +2 and down to -2. So I know in my equation y equals 2 sine. I've got to figure out what k is. Does anybody know what k is? Or how to figure it out? Rock? It's not 4. It's 3. Why do you say 3? Yeah, there's 3 cycles. That's the first cycle. This is the second cycle right there. And this is the third cycle right there. So it had 3 cycles take place between 0 and 2 pi. So k is 3. So that's how you find, that's one way to find k. We're going to show you another way to find k as well, algebraically. But that, you can use a graph. If you just count how many cycles take place between 0 and 2 pi, that's going to tell you what k is. Okay? All right. Now, I did teach you all that the other day. It's just you guys have forgotten. Okay, I want to do a quick review. We just talked about this right here. So y equals a sine of kx, and y equals a cosine of kx are the 2 equations we're studying, sine and cosine. And we know that the A stands for amplitude, and I think we understand that pretty good. Amplitude is how high and low the graph goes, right? We learned that the other day. P is equal to the period. And what is the normal period of a sine and cosine function? Do you remember? It's what? 2 pi, yeah. Normal period is 2 pi. So normal period equals 2 pi. Okay? So, and then we have this number k. And k is the number that changes the period. K is the number that changes the period. Now, if you remember right, the other day, we learned a formula for period. What was that formula? Say that again, Kristen. It's what? Yeah, 2 pi over k. 2 pi over k is how you figure out the period. Now, this problem that we just did, we came up with this equation right here. 2 sine of 3x. Can we use the information in that equation to figure out what the period of that graph is? Okay, how do we do that? Put 3 in for k. So I go 2 pi divided by 3, because k is 3, and I get that the period is 2 pi over 3. I put 3 in for k because that's what k was, and I get 2 pi over 3 as a new period. Now watch on this graph. So if I go back to this graph right here, I can see that one period ended right here. This is one period right here. It did that whole cycle before it repeated it again. That means that point right there is 2 pi over 3. If I do another cycle, that cycle is 2 pi over 3 plus 2 pi over 3, which is 4 pi over 3. And if I do the last cycle, That's another 2 pi over 3 added onto that, which is going to be 6 pi over 3, which is 2 pi. 2 pi over 1, okay? 2 pi. And so every 2 pi, it repeats a cycle. So do you see the relationship between K and P? So period, the period is the new length that it takes to complete one cycle. And K is the number of cycles between 0 and 2 pi, 2 pi being the normal period for a sine or cosine function. Any questions on any of this before I start kind of quizzing you a little bit? Okay, we're gonna do a little quizzing right here. So I am going to start off with I'm going to start. Everybody, turn your head. Don't look this way. I am going to put on a new equation. I want you to see if you can figure out the equation for this one right here. Okay, I'm going to give you a minute. See, when you have it, please raise your hand. Okay, so Mitchell said it's y equals 4 sine of 5x. As on the test, you're going to need to write that y equals on there, because I get a lot of students that just want to put this part. Remember, we're writing an equation. It has to have an equal sign in it. We're writing the whole function. So please write y equals 4 sine of 5x. Get in the habit of doing it right now. Okay, let's look at this and see if it is right. You'll notice that we go up. It goes up. The graph's peak hits at 4. Its low points, its minimum points are at -4. So that means the amplitude is 4. So I got that part right. And then we can count the number of cycles that take place. If I start right here at 0, 0, I count 1 cycle to right here. That's 1 cycle, right? I do it again. That's 2 cycles. I do it again. That's 3 cycles. Do it one more time. That's 4 cycles. One more time. 5 cycles. And so we know that K is 5 because 5 cycles take place between 0 and 2 pi. Any questions there? Okay, so we now know that. Now we need to figure out what the period of this sine function is. How far is it when we started right here tracing these cycles? How far is this distance right here from here to there, from that one point to that point? How far is that distance? How do I figure that out? What is the period of this function? Okay, Jack says it's 2 pi over 5. What do you guys think? Yeah, because we have the formula 2 pi divided by k, and since k is 5, we have 2 pi fifths is the period of the cosine function. Any questions there? Okay, now, let's do another one right here. Okay, everybody turn your head again. Okay, when you know the equation for this one, raise your hand. Change this so it's up there. Okay, when you know it, raise your hand. Who's got it? Okay. Taylor, what do you have? Y equals, what did you say again?
It's -3 sine.
All right, -3 sine of 2x. Why is it negative, you guys? Yeah, we started at 0, 0, and we went down. So it's got to be negative, right? And it went clear down to -3. It's going up to +3 up here. There's 1 cycle right there, right? And here's a second cycle right here. Okay? So we have a -3 sine of 2x. Okay, any questions on that? All right, I got to throw you a challenging problem now. Turn your head. Oh, let's see who can get this one. Kay's got it. Rhett's got it.
I would guess.
Joe's confidently raising his hand. Okay. Kristen, did you have your hand up? I thought you did. Okay. But Kay, what did you come up with?
Is it y equals -4 sine 0.5x? Is that possible? I thought it was. That's right.
1/2 x, in other words? You could write it as 1/2 x or 0.5 x, but that is the correct thing. Because, look, we know that it goes clear down to -4. That means on its way up, it's going to go to +4. So we know the amplitude's 4. It started at 0, 0, and it was going down, which means it had to be negative, right? And it only completed a half a cycle between 0 and 2 pi. So we knew that K had to be 1/2. Okay? Okay. A couple more. Turn your heads. Don't look. Okay, look. I forgot to pause it during that time, so the people at home get to see. Red thinks he's got it. Okay, what do you think, Rhett?
Is it y equals cosine 5? I mean 5 cosine of. Never mind. It's 5 cosine 5.
5 cosine.
5 cosine of 6. I can't remember.
6x. That is correct answer.
Oh.
Y equals 5 cosine of 6x. If you look, this graph goes clear up to 5 up here. Goes down to -5 here. It started at 0, 5, so it has to be a cosine, right? I tried to fake you out. I've been doing sines. One cycle is when it gets back up there. That's 1. Here's another one right here. 2. Another one right here. 3. Another one right here. 4. Another one right here. 5. And then this last one, 6. So every time it goes down then back up, it's a cycle. So 6 cycles. So amplitude is 5. And then we had 6. Any questions there? All right, one more. Last one. Okay, this one right here. Okay, what is it?
Y equals -1 cosine. Yep.
You guys think he's right? Y equals negative cosine 2x. Okay? So started at 0, -1, so we know it's cosine. It's negative cosine because it started down and went up. And 2 cycles took place between 0 and 2 pi. Okay, what's the period of this? What's the period? I've been forgetting to ask you guys the period. What's the period? 2 pi divided by k, which is 2. Cancel out. So it takes pi. You only had to go halfway complete one cycle. We got this down?
Yeah.
So, okay. So if I gave you guys a quiz, and I did something like this. Could you tell me what the amplitude and period are? Okay, show me. Okay, what's the amplitude? Okay, the amplitude's 4. What's the period?
1 pi over 3.
2 pi over 6, if you're using the formula, right? Which reduces to pi thirds. Hey, you guys, K is what? K is 6. You guys, a lot of students get the period and K mixed up. They're two different things. K changes the period. K affects the period, but it's not the period. Okay, on your assignment, you're going to have problems like this. It's going to say the period is equal to, let's say, pi fourths. The period is pi fourths, and the amplitude is 3. And they're going to say, write an equation that has those two things. Okay? So, see if you can do that. What'd you get? Y equals what? Sine. We're going to do a sine function. I forgot to say. Is it 8? What do you guys think?
Yes, it is.
Period equals 2 pi over k. We don't know what k is, right? But we know what p is. What's p? If I replace p with pi fourths, I get 2 pi over k like this. And if I solve this by cross multiplying, pi times k is k pi. 4 times 2 pi is 8 pi. What cancels out here? Yeah, I divide both sides and I get k equals 8. Who said 8?
I didn't do all that. Oh my God.
That right there is it. Well, yeah, and what did you do? You just remembered there's 4 pi fourths in pi. So there's 8 and 2 pi, right? So you could figure it out that way. So 8 cycles to get it that way. So that's how you do a problem like that. All right. We're going to do a little activity here. And then I'm going to let you guys have the rest of the time to work on your assignment. The assignment that we got last time is the assignment I'm talking about, you guys. So it's due next time. Okay? I just wanted to really make sure you understood what we were doing.